The Little Lighthouse. On the rocky coastline of a small seaside town stood a modest lighthouse named Beacon Point. Unlike its grander counterparts along the coast, Beacon Point was small and often overlooked. Its paint was faded, and its light, though steady, was not as bright as others. Yet it stood resiliently, a silent guardian of the sea. In the town, there lived a young boy named Oliver, whose fascination with the sea and its mysteries was as vast as the ocean itself. Oliver often visited Beacon Point, admiring the little lighthouse that seemed to watch over the town with quiet dignity. He loved to imagine the many ships it had guided safely to shore. One stormy evening, as dark clouds gathered and the sea turned turbulent, Oliver sat at his window, watching the storm rage over the ocean. The townspeople were used to storms, but this one felt different. It was fiercer and more menacing. As the wind howled and the waves crashed, a small cargo ship struggled against the tempest. The ship, caught off guard by the sudden storm, was desperately trying to find its way to the safety of the harbor. But with visibility near zero and the lighthouse from the neighboring town obscured by the storm, the situation seemed dire. Unbeknownst to the crew, their only hope lay in the small, often overlooked Beacon Point lighthouse. Inside the lighthouse, the keeper, Mr. Hudson, an elderly man who had tended to the beacon for many years, was acutely aware of the responsibility resting on his shoulders. He worked diligently to ensure that the light remained strong and steady, cutting through the storm's fury. Back in his home, Oliver sensed that something was amiss. He could see the faint light of Beacon Point battling against the darkness. With a sense of urgency, he pulled on his coat and rain boots, determined to make sure the lighthouse was functioning properly. He knew that in times like these, even the smallest light could make the biggest difference. Battling the fierce wind and rain, Oliver made his way to Beacon Point. When he arrived, he found Mr. Hudson working tirelessly. Oliver offered his help, and together they refueled the lamp and cleared the lens of rain and sea spray. As the night progressed, the little lighthouse shone bravely, its beam piercing the darkness. The crew of the cargo ship, seeing the light, felt a wave of relief wash over them. Guided by Beacon Point's steady glow, they navigated the treacherous waters and reached the safety of the harbor. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving behind a sense of gratitude and awe among the townspeople. News of the cargo ship's safe arrival, thanks to the guidance of Beacon Point, spread quickly. The townsfolk realized the crucial role the little lighthouse had played in the storm. For Oliver, the experience was a profound one. He had learned that even the smallest act of helping, like ensuring the light of a modest lighthouse, could have a significant impact. He felt proud of his little friend, Beacon Point, and knew that its importance would never again be overlooked by the people of the town. The morning after the storm, the town of Beacon Point was abuzz with activity and gratitude. The story of the small lighthouse's crucial role in guiding the cargo ship to safety had spread like wildfire, bringing a newfound appreciation for the humble structure. Oliver, who had helped Mr. Hudson through the night, became a little hero in the eyes of the townspeople. The mayor of the town, seeing the impact of Beacon Point, decided to pay a visit to the lighthouse. Accompanied by a few townsfolk, he met with Mr. Hudson and Oliver at the lighthouse. The mayor expressed his deep gratitude for their bravery and dedication during the storm. He realized that despite its size, Beacon Point was an indispensable part of the town. Filled with pride, Oliver listened as the townspeople shared their stories of how Beacon Point had been a part of their lives. Fishermen spoke of the countless times the lighthouse had guided them safely home, and families recalled watching its light from their windows, a comforting reminder of the town's resilience. Inspired by the community's outpouring of appreciation, the mayor announced a plan to refurbish Beacon Point. He wanted to ensure that the lighthouse was maintained and recognized for its vital role. The townspeople cheered in agreement, eager to see their beloved lighthouse receive the care and attention it deserved. In the following weeks, Beacon Point became a hive of activity. Workers repainted its exterior, giving it a fresh, bright look. The lens was polished until it shone like a diamond, and the light's mechanism was updated to ensure it would continue to operate flawlessly. Oliver visited Beacon Point every day after school to watch the progress. He felt a deep connection to the lighthouse and was thrilled to see it being restored. Mr. Hudson, who had become a mentor and friend to Oliver, shared stories of the lighthouse's history as they watched the workers. One day, as they sat watching the sunset from the top of the lighthouse, Mr. Hudson turned to Oliver and said, "You know, Oliver, this lighthouse is a lot like life. Sometimes we might feel small or overlooked, but we all have a role to play, a purpose that can make a big difference. Like Beacon Point, we must stand tall and shine our light, no matter how fierce the storm." Oliver pondered Mr. Hudson's words, realizing the depth of their meaning. He understood that every act, no matter how small, could have a significant impact. He felt inspired to find ways to make a difference in his town and in the lives of those around him. As the refurbishment of Beacon Point neared completion, the town planned a celebration to honor the lighthouse and its keepers, both old and new. The event was to include music, food, and a ceremony to relight the beacon, a symbol of the town's enduring spirit and collective strength. The anticipation for the celebration grew, not just among the townsfolk, but also within Oliver. He felt a sense of responsibility and pride, knowing that he had played a part in reviving the spirit of Beacon Point. The day of the celebration arrived, and the seaside town of Beacon Point was adorned with festive decorations. Colorful banners fluttered in the wind, and the aroma of delicious food filled the air. The townspeople, dressed in their finest, gathered around the lighthouse, their faces beaming with excitement and pride. Oliver, standing beside Mr. Hudson, looked out at the crowd. He felt a surge of emotion, realizing the profound connection between the town and its lighthouse. The once overlooked Beacon Point was now the center of attention, a symbol of hope and guidance for the community. The mayor began the ceremony with a speech, recounting the heroic actions of Mr. Hudson and Oliver during the storm. He spoke about the importance of the lighthouse, not only as a navigational aid, but also as a beacon of community spirit. Today, we celebrate not just the refurbishment of this lighthouse, but also the enduring strength and unity of our town, he declared. As the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, the moment everyone had been waiting for arrived. With a sense of ceremonial gravity, Mr. Hudson invited Oliver to join him in relighting the beacon. Oliver felt his heart swell with pride as he stepped forward, aware of the significance of this moment. Together, they turned the switch, and Beacon Point's light burst forth, shining brighter than ever before. Cheers and applause erupted from the crowd as the beacon's light swept across the sea and the town. The light was a promise, a constant reminder that even the smallest presence could make a significant impact. The celebration continued into the evening, with music and laughter echoing along the coastline. Oliver mingled with the townspeople, listening to their stories and sharing his own. He realized that the lighthouse had brought the community closer, creating a bond that transcended age and background. As the night drew on, Oliver found himself standing at the base of Beacon Point, gazing up at the shining light. He thought about Mr. Hudson's words and how the lighthouse was a metaphor for life. He understood that everyone, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, had the power to make a difference. It was the collective light of individual acts of kindness and responsibility that kept the community strong. The celebration of Beacon Point became an annual tradition, a day to remember the importance of standing tall and shining bright, even in the face of adversity. For Oliver, the lighthouse was more than just a structure. It was a teacher of life's great lessons. He continued to visit Mr. Hudson and Beacon Point, learning more about the lighthouse and the sea. With each visit, his respect and admiration for the humble structure grew. He knew that Beacon Point would continue to guide ships and inspire the town for many years to come. As the celebration came to a close, the townspeople left with a renewed sense of togetherness and purpose. Beacon Point, with its bright light shining across the waters, stood as a testament to the power of unity and the impact of helping others. As time passed, the story of Beacon Point and its little lighthouse became an integral part of the town's history. The annual celebration continued to draw people together, reminding them of the unity and resilience they shared. For Oliver, the lighthouse was a beacon not only of light, but also of inspiration, guiding him as he grew from a curious child into a thoughtful young man. Oliver often reflected on the lessons he had learned from Beacon Point. He realized that helping others and making a difference didn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it was the small acts, like a light shining through the darkness, that held the greatest impact. Inspired by these lessons, Oliver began to find ways to contribute to his community. He volunteered for local projects, helped his neighbors, and became a voice for positive change in the town. He knew that every action, no matter how small, contributed to the larger tapestry of community life. Years went by, and Mr. Hudson, the old lighthouse keeper, decided it was time to pass on his duties. He saw in Oliver not just a helper, but a successor, someone who understood the true meaning and responsibility of the lighthouse. With pride and confidence, Mr. Hudson entrusted Oliver with the care of Beacon Point. Oliver accepted this responsibility with reverence. He knew that tending to the lighthouse was more than just a job. It was a commitment to keeping the town's legacy alive. He maintained the lighthouse with great care, ensuring that its light continued to shine brightly, guiding ships and inspiring those on land. As the new keeper of Beacon Point, Oliver often shared the story of the little lighthouse with visitors and children. He spoke of the stormy night that had first brought him to the lighthouse and how it had taught him about the importance of helping and perseverance. Under Oliver's watch, Beacon Point remained a symbol of hope and guidance. The lighthouse stood strong against storms and calm seas alike, its light a constant reminder of the town's enduring spirit. It continued to guide sailors to safety just as it guided the townspeople in their daily lives. The little lighthouse, once overlooked, had shown that even the smallest can have a great purpose. It had taught the town the value of unity, the importance of each role in the community, and the impact of kindness. Oliver looked out from the top of Beacon Point, watching the horizon and the town below. He felt a deep connection to the lighthouse and the sea, a bond forged through years of care and understanding. In the rhythmic sound of the waves and the steady beam of the light, he found a lasting peace and purpose. The story of Beacon Point and its little lighthouse became a cherished tale, passed down through generations. It was a story that taught the value of helping others, the strength found in unity, and the profound impact of small acts of kindness. Lessons that, like the lighthouse's beam, would never fade.